First we have the A chord. We're gonna hold that for a while, go get a bite to eat, come back, and then we got, and then we're gonna do that again. And then this time we're gonna go, so that was the 3, and then we had an upstroke, upstroke, and then we stopped the third upstroke. And then we're gonna have a little bend here. So this is part of the A major pentatonic scale. Take this 4th fret G string, bend it downwards from the upwards held bend, right? Pull it off to the 2, bum, bum, 2 more 2s there. Okay, and then the verse begins. Now at the beginning of the verse, you could kind of be hitting an A, and then we're gonna wait and go. So that's waiting a long time and hitting like an upstroke on that A bass note and then hitting the chord after it. So it'd be like a 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And then we're gonna go. Okay, so that was the A note, little bend on that G to the E, and the E major chord. After that E major chord, we're gonna have G, D, D. Okay, and then we're back to an A. Second part of the verse, we got A bass, bump, 3, 4, 1, 2, and back to the 3, E chord, G to D right there. Now we're gonna have a new part. This is like a D with an A bass. So we have open on the A, we have 4, 2, 3. We're gonna go. So what I did is I kind of raked up the strings to the 2nd string and then hit the little string 2 after that. Then A chord. So it ends up being 6 times back and forth of that. Then we're gonna have G, G to E. Now we're gonna have cool fills that are gonna come in on this E chord here. So we go to our G. So that was sliding into the 4 and 4 on the G string and the E string. And then the 2 and 2. And then the 1 and the open on the G string and E strings. So once again, we got. Six times, so 2 more. We got our G, and then our fill. And then we're gonna go. Now that's a little fill that goes with the next G chord, so we're gonna slide into the 7s here. Go into the 7s. That second time we do the 4s, the 2s, back into the 4, 4. 7s again. And then we got D. That's a D sus with that pinky down there, real quick staccato. Back to the D. And then we have a little bend. Just like how we have that little bend on the 3 up here. We have that on the C note on the 5th string on the 3rd fret. Back to that D power chord right there. And then he's like, won't get fooled again. Back to the A. We're gonna G, G, D. Back to A. And then we're gonna go a staccato G to the D. Okay, so one of the great things about Pete Townshend's rhythm playing is like where he has so many variations just with the way he stops a chord, lets it ring, doesn't hit it where you think he'd hit it. And you know, it's like what he leaves out is like real genius. Now we get into a new part. We're gonna have this A chord. We're gonna have the pinky down here on these 2 5s on the bottom 2 strings there. So we're gonna get into a thing. And then you got your D with the A bass, open 4, 2, 3. Not really doing anything too much with the bottom string on that one. But you kind of go from this one. And then we're gonna have another verse. G to E. Okay, so in this next verse, we have an extra thing here. We're going to go to this like 9 and 10 here. Part of the A chord there. So it's like... And then we're going to do that G to E. G to D. And then we're going to have that... 6 times of this. That's where you go to our G to E, and that's where we have our cool fills. Now the fill on this one is, so this one slides from the 12 of the 2nd string to the 5th fret of the 2nd string, and then 2 bends on the 7 to the 5 there. So let's say we're doing about 4 of these little D to A things. Here goes G. And then when it goes to the G, again, we're going to have those 7s, the sliding 7s, and then we're going to have... So we're going to have a little 12 and that bend on that 15 on the 2nd string. It's like 4 sets of that, so just kind of listen to it. And then we're going to have that D type of thing. Sus. Think about that little C thing. Won't get fooled again. You got your A, G to D. Maybe to like a D with an A bass. Okay, then we're gonna get into a little rhythm that has that. So it's kind of every now and again, you'll throw that G in there to go back to the A power chord, and you got your D with the A bass chord down here. So we got. Yep, going to a B major chord right here. So we're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 2nd bar, going to E then. Going to A, back to B, now extra bar B, 1, 2, 3, and then A to E. We're gonna get into that. A to E, back to B. So I'm just making up some stuff there, but that's where he goes into a solo based on basically B minor pentatonic. Okay, and it's also a B major. You could look at it as like a power chord. So we get into this feel like with a B to E thing. To the E. And we get into this little fill here. So we have a 4 in the D and a 4 in the B. Kind of slide into that. To the 3s, 2s, and then 1 and open. And then slide into the 6 and 5. So it's like. Okay, so that's a cool little thing for the B to E part that's going on right there. And then what happens is after we get through that riff a couple times, we're going to end up back into back to A with the G, D. All real tight like that. Upbeats and stuff. Last one. A little bit of more normal rhythm there. And then we're into the next verse. So we're like, but he's introduced some things now, like, so he'll do a little bit of that bending. Say you got these 5s down here. He's gonna bend that 4 of that G string. And he gets little fills kind of with that, but it's basically still your A kind of stuff, you know. And then you got your to E. And then E. So that G to D there gets us into the six times. So this next one we get into our G and we got so that one bends the 14 of the G string and then little 12, 15, 12, bend on the 14, 14, 12, 14, 12. Okay, and then we go. Slide into the 9s and the 7s on the D and B strings. And the last little fill is kind of slide into these 9s. 11, 9, bend that one up. That gives you your last fill there. And then we're in like back to A. And then really you just kind of jam out. There's a lot of jamming. So think about your A major pentatonic scale. Think about up here, BB box. You can always go A minor pentatonic. All right, thanks for your patience. We got a little construction happening around the house today, but we still pulled it off. Have a great day.